speaking, there's been so much conversation about a toxic working environment. I, for a fact, have worked with a toxic boss. Worst part about it is that she was a woman, you would expect, like, this is someone who understands some certain situations and they will treat you better. But to be quite honest, like, a lot of toxic bosses, most of the time, tend to be women. That's one thing I will guarantee you. I've only worked with a few women who are really, 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 really supportive. But not only is it that working in a toxic environment based on how your boss controls you, but also at the same time, there are also privileges that go to specific individual. Most of the corporates, well, let me tell you, a lot of people survive by kissing ass, Those are the people who get promotions. Those are people who, wale kujipendekeza, kujidekeza. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, I
was born in Mombasa, my friend. I do have then tokalpale, like my Swahili. If you find with coastal people, my accent comes. But back to the main topic of today. So you find that there are privileges that go to specific type of individual. Now, there's an incident that happened recently, and to be quite honest, it's something I'm thinking about. Like, okay, it's not that I don't want to say that I'm being paranoid, but it happens. You find that there's some job position you cannot be able to be given if you are single. But if you're married, you have an added advantage. Understand?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like those who are qualified who might be single, but the single parents, they are also the sole breadwinner of this kind of family setup. So I don't know. What is your thoughts?
And that's where we start from this week, isn't it?
And today we're talking about working conditions and policy. Eventually, I'm hoping we will get someone from a legal department to come and explain this. But before that, let us rant.
Yeah. It's about time we rant about employment.
I know.
And how it affects single parents. And actually single parents, the majority affected by this kind of policies and laws and all that. And I think at some point, I hope we will get somebody with the legal background on labor relations and laws, because to be honest, watu wanasuffer. Watu wanasuffer. There is a silent discrimination that is not out there that involves that affects a lot of single parents. Like you've rightfully put it, there are cases where some positions
you can't.
First of all, it starts with the form itself. It's first of all, it's the profiling. After going through all your education background and all those kind of stories, then it goes into the profiling. When you're filling in those things. Somebody asks you, are you married? Are you single? Even the government document still has the same. Well,
it's okay. They want to know you're married to status. We're not hiding.
Nikitu toka kitambo. The British guys used to document people that way.
But nowadays, have you seen the documents?
But you see now, in today's world, things have changed, and there are more. There are changes in the family setups. It's not your normal nuclear setup that we used to have. Where you
see baba na mama.
Correct.
And,
things have changed. I don't know whether we, in many cases where we have a single parent raising children and taking care of their children, whether that would be classified as a complete family or incomplete family. Is it nuclear or is it something else?
Again,
and it starts from that point. That's a sad reality. It starts from that point, because for one, we start putting labels and categorizing people based on their social status and social decisions. And in essence, somebody has gone to school and has acquired the right knowledge and the skill sets to perform a certain function, whether male or female, but then find themselves discriminated on the basis of being a single parent. And no employer comes out clearly because they know it is a clear social discrimination. But no one comes out clearly to explain to you why you cannot possibly have this position, because it's categorized for a married person. And there's also the perception that, maybe being married is better, and we'll get into that. But I get you, Conchitah. It's a big problem.
It is. It's annoying.
Yeah, it is really annoying, because a lot of people miss out on opportunities because they're not married.
Yes.
And you wonder whether is it a silent way to force them into getting married if they don't want to get married? Because marriage is not for everybody.
I know of a good friend of mine, whereby there's some meeting she goes to.
Yeah.
She has to wear like a fake wedding ring for her to be able to get a certain type of, corporate respect. And trust you me, she told me, imagine this has been working for me, because the moment sometimes if I'm to go as an individual, that those who are still in that mentality of like, this one, she doesn't have that family set up, of which actually she doesn't even have a child. You understand? But the fact that these guys look at her and they're like, this is like someone who is wifey kind of looking. I don't know how wifey looks like, but the wifeys I know, they are hot. They're hot. They don't look like wifey.
Yeah.
No, things have changed. You understand?
Things have changed.
So it doesn't. We're no longer in that traditional kind of. But still, there's some cooperation whereby I know for a fact. So you tell me, how was your situation like? If you go call that, your child was sick and you have to leave, and then you're a single dad.
I had a very interesting, and it was during the COVID days.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I was sitting in the office. You just get from home, get to the office, and started getting to my day-to-day activities in the day. And then I get a text message from the class teacher.
Yeah.
And that tells me, CK doesn't look too good today. We've tried to manage the temperatures and all that at the school level.
Yeah.
But then they were not getting anywhere, because the body temperature was still kind of, still on the higher side.
Yeah.
We were getting worried. And obviously as a parent, not even as a single parent, but also as a parent at that time, you get worried. You really get worried.
Yeah.
And more so when you are the only one.
Sure.
And as I said in previous discussions, we live for these people. These are the people that motivates us to do better in life.
Exactly.
To be much better, to gain more education.
Sure.
Nobody just walks into another university to acquire another degree without a reason, not a purpose.
Yeah.
And many that are going to universities and getting degrees and PhDs and all that are predominantly parents.
Yeah.
Much more than people who are not.
Sure.
And they do it for the purpose of making it better for their offspring.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
by just that alone, the priority levels are different.
Sure.
If you ask me, a couple of years ago, I did a course in leadership in a foreign country.
Yeah.
And one of the questions we were asked by the lady who was giving us the lecture and the training, she asked, can you list down in orders of priority, what are your priorities in life?
Yeah.
So we had guys who would talk about God as, God comes first, and then family comes second. My parents and whatnot, and people have different ways of classification.
We all know the same. Yeah.
But to some of us, it's that family that comes first. Because it's what we labor for. It's what we live for. That's where we get our own motivation.
So what was the situation like now during that time?
So now I get this call in the morning. I get this text message. So I call back, and of course they explain to me the whole scenario and how things were, and I get worried. And then I walk into my boss's office, and they tell my boss, look, I have to go home. I have to go and pick my daughter from school and take her to the hospital.
Yeah.
He went ballistic.
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
He just went crazy. And he was like, that cannot be. and who will do this work? I even offered him, I will carry the work with me.
Yeah, go with
and
it
and go and do it in the house, But he could not allow me to go.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. And I remember it bothered me to a point. I went to another senior person there who was female, and I asked her, does it mean that if it was a single mother,
yes,
if it was a single mother who would come to you right now and tell you my child is unwell, you would allow that person to go?
That's the thing. Where's the
But
gender?
I am a single father. I'm a single father at a time, and I'm having a sick child,
And
but I'm being denied the opportunity to go and take this child to the
and
hospital.
we talk about equal,
Yes.
equal rights.
Equal rights. And some of this, a child's right is really paramount.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
And I completely understood where, it's a business at the end of the day. Business doesn't really care whether you are, whatever you're going through and all that.
Yeah.
But there's essence of empathy and sympathy that needs to come into humanity. It cannot just be money driven all the time.
Sure.
We will all live and die and leave this money on
exactly
earth.
Here.
Yes. Whatever the prestige and whatever the competition that you want to really, you want to be there, doesn't really make sense at the risk of others. Sure. So what did I do? I did what any other parents would do. Packed my stuff
and go
and went.
Yes, our kids come first.
Yeah,
I've always told guys.
And I was reprimanded the next day when I went to work.
Wait, what?
Yeah? I was reprimanded.
Why?
I lost pay for that day.
Damn.
And anytime, the way Conchitah, you're a single parent. You wake up early in the morning.
Kids are okay.
Yes.
In the afternoon, they're sick.
Not even that. You wake up in the morning, you get into a matatu or into your vehicle, you're going to work. Along the way,
phone call.
There's throwing up.
Yes.
You have nanny in the house. You have house help in the house. But this house help sometimes cannot be able to help much.
Exactly.
So you are a single parent. There's nobody else.
Yes.
You get my point?
Yeah.
And you are performing at the top of your game anyway. Right? So it reaches a point where it becomes very difficult.
You go like F it.
You say, you know what?
Because I've been there. Like with these kids, sometimes they get sickly all the time. Today they're okay. Tomorrow they're not. The next day they're sick. You know? So this week they're okay. Next week, you understand?
Yeah.
So I remember there's a time whereby, that is the season of cold. So my daughter has really bad sinus. So today she's okay. She's going to school tomorrow. The school teacher is calling. During that period.
Yeah.
So I end up telling my supervisor, my kid is not well. So he's like, no, you're incompetent. I'm going to write for you short course later. You're always I'm like, first of all, let me tell you one thing. You're a mother. If your kid is sick right now, you will go.
This was another mother doing this to you.
Yes, this is another mother doing this to me. I'm like, if your kid is sick right now, you will go. You yourself, you're a parent. You know how these kids are. There's no prediction. You're not a prophet.
Yeah.
You're thinking you're okay. You're like, okay, I'm done with that. Oh, wait, something else has come. You're like, what is it? Even sometimes it's overwhelming you because you're asking yourself, am I just always going to live in the hospital?
Yeah.
But you're trying to explain to someone like, listen, trust you me.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can even come to work on Saturday.
Yes.
It's crazy. The other thing is another situation that I've been at whereby you find that the house manager just wakes up and she's like, I quit.
Yeah.
And that is during the holiday and you have to work. Let me tell you one thing. I have been going with my daughter to work since she was 3.5 years old. Every office I've worked in, my daughter has been to that office. Because in this particular company, again, with this toxic boss, it was more of like, I don't have a nanny, especially during COVID period. My daughter had, that during that time, the kids had online classes.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, I will go with that to work. During COVID period, everyone with mask and all that, and she will sit at a corner and attend a class while I'm still working. Because one, if you tell this person I'm working from home because of ABCD, it looks like what? Like you're lying. You're not competent.
There's the unfortunate bit is that there's a lot of mistrust with employers in this country, and they don't seem to realize that not everybody lies about
their whereabouts,
situations. And especially for single parents, the many that I know.
Yes.
No one would want to miss work.
In fact, you're more productive when you're working from home than at the office at times.
That's one angle. But no one would want to really miss work simply because of pretext.
True.
They're pretending.
True.
Like you would put your child in a position whereby you're saying your child is unwell, and there are people who do that, of course. But there are people that you know for a fact that, like in my case,
can't afford to lose your job. You're the breadwinner.
In my case, I explained it at the beginning. I said, I'm joining you guys, but I'm a single parent.
Yes.
From time to time, there could be situations beyond my control that will need my attention.
Yeah, true.
Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one will understand when
then the situation came.
And then when the children open school, the flu starts. Yeah. They start. These other guys have different people who are taking care of all manner of business. I've been in a situation where the house helper has left in the morning. What do you do with such situations? You have to stay at home.
Yeah.
Me, anytime I would be late, maybe I had to sort out one or two things and figure out how to sort out my daughter and take her to school. And
then it's an issue.
I lose pay.
My goodness,
I lose pay.
And that's what we're talking about. What is wrong with some companies? Like, I don't know. Have you guys experienced such kind of situations whereby it's way beyond your means? And Lilian, I tell you, like kids we used to do nalamba mchanga, like ningumu. It's not planned.
It is
but
not
the question is, so who is to blame here? Employers who don't trust the employees, or is it company policy whereby there's no equal rights, whereby single parents who are female sometimes are highly favored compared to men? That's something I
can guarantee you, and maybe viewers and listeners can also help us
this
out
should be
here.
Changed.
Fans can also help us here. I can guarantee you, majority of single men don't get that support. They don't get that support. They are never believe that they are going to attend to their children or something. Yeah. It's either they are going to do other things, and there's all manner of doubts. And I think it's a very unfair situation because when you're the only parent that is available, even that child in distress expects
you to be there.
You understand me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And yet you can still contribute significantly and positive and deliver on whatever KPIs that need to be delivered. The world is dynamic these days.
True.
The buildings don't define productivity as such.
True.
And COVID-19 has taught us that.
Yes.
But unfortunately, these are the situations. And what you said, Conchitah, there is also the discrimination on opportunity. And it happens to women, single mothers, a lot.
Let me tell you, Ken, I've been in situations whereby, I don't know.
The fact that you're a single mother, you hardly get opportunities to be at the top level of your productivity.
Sure.
It's like you're being discriminated. There are things you can't do.
Not only that, and that's what I'm saying, then when I started working with a different company, then I learned a different culture. And my goodness, I was so happy because you work with people who understand, like, listen, there's an emergency. I'll not be able to do ABCD. However, my duties for today is ABCD. I will have it delivered. And they're like, it's okay. You understand? Yeah. The next day, like, hey, how is the child? Like, she's good. The number of times I go to work with my daughter after I've taken her from the hospital, like if she's not that badly off, I'll just chomoka from the hospital with her. Then we pass by the office. I finish what I'm supposed to finish for like an hour. Then I go home. That's when I realize, okay, there are companies which are okay, but there's some whereby people are still suffering. So is it a policy that needs to be implemented whereby, listen, you just go in there? Because every place I go for employment, I usually make sure they know I'm a single parent. And I tell them, once in a while, I will come with my daughter to work. So should workplaces change in terms of their culture? so that it's all accommodative. Because during COVID period, I can guarantee you, during that time, most of the single parents that we used to work, we used to come to work with our kids. So our kids used to run along the corridor, playing there. That happened because we're like, listen, the nannies have gone. They're like, no, we need also to go take care of our
I remember
homes.
I visited you once. I saw your
And you
daughter.
saw my daughter, yes, with me to work at
doing
work.
homework.
Yes, she was doing her homework,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just there like.
Yeah.
So now you say it's more of like, are these policies that really need to be implemented because things need to change. Just because I'm not married, it doesn't mean I'm less qualified for this position. I'm a single parent and I'm the breadwinner as well. So we can try it out. May the best candidate win.
I always wonder, do couples contribute to performance of an individual? If I'm married,
We're not working in the same company. Like I'm really, they're not working on the same. They're not working on the same company.
I always wonder why we have this level of discrimination.
Doesn't make sense.
You married or not? If you're married, then you're categorized differently.
True.
I understand it when it comes to
It's okay,
taxation.
like family person.
Yeah, but how does being married contribute to the actual,
Level
deliverables
of-
and,
yes.
and level of performance of an individual whose salary payslip is based on an individual and not on family
Imagine.
basis? It's an
But I
oxymoron
also have an extra mouth to feed. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, yes.
I also have an extra mouth to feed. It's not that I'm working for myself, or the same qualification that this person has is the same. I can be able to deliver. The thing is, why is it that everyone is so quick to cutting off instead of listening? Like not everyone, majority or let's say minority. I don't know where, again, if the shoe fits. I don't know why there's that need of because you're married, first priority. No. That has to change in companies.
It has to change.
It has to change.
It has to. We can only try to influence change as a people.
And we are influencing change.
But we can't force companies to make changes.
True.
However, my thinking is, and I've had this experience from other companies that understands, as you rightfully put it, can allow you to have your child coming to work. There are companies that would allow mothers even to breastfeed at work and things like that. But there are those that still use the old slavery mentality. Unfortunately,
I said tradition. I was being polite.
They use some level of dictatorial approach to things, which they end up losing good talents.
Sure.
To people who understand how to utilize those skill sets better.
Sure.
Because you have situation where somebody just feels like, I am the boss, I must be feared. I must be feared.
Micromanagers.
And we have these sometimes human resource management professionals who are really not professionals. They are there basically to ensure that they are feared by individuals.
But like when you're feared, there's no productivity actually.
There is no productivity.
Yeah, ukitoka kila mtu asha clock out.
I mean, people will be doing
whatever it is.
But there are people there are employers who are happy to see you just seated there the whole day that you're there.
Oh my God. It's a lot of work. Like, ain't you tired of like watching? Like kunele kuji choking say, because you're watching someone like, oh, why are you standing? Oh, why is that one idol? Like, have I delivered? The thing is, there's working hard and there's working smart. Understand?
Yeah.
So there are those who work smart and they deliver. There are those who work hard and they deliver. Everyone has their own
and
different.
And there are those who work hard and don't deliver.
And they don't deliver.
And there are those who don't work at all.
Yes, and they deliver. Weirdly. But the thing is, it's more of like that sort of like micro managing in terms of what you think you deserve based on your state of your marital status.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it needs to start changing.
But you see, Conchitah, it's not just only in big corporations.
Yeah.
But even in small organization, informal sector of employment, there are those challenges still. Yeah. The understanding of that this person has another responsibility and there's no one else that assists. We all want to have both parents because the whole concept is that if you are in a family setup, your mind is more calm to concentrate on issues and things like that. But now you find yourself in a situation where you are not. And it's even worse in informal
So I'm imagining
employment,
for those guys, like let's say those who are paid per
Wages,
day
for
when
example.
they work.
Yeah.
How oh my God. How is it though?
Well, I used to lose pay if
So
I
if you
have to stay
don't-
home to take care of my sick daughter.
There's no like a law that protects these guys?
I've been denied an opportunity to go and take my father to hospital.
My goodness.
Yeah.
This is why I quit jobs. Let me tell you. I don't, like you see with the toxic boss, I tolerated because I knew I'd already planned my exit, you know? It was just a matter of time before my project exodus. But sometimes I used to look at her, I really wanted to slap her. Like I wanted to beat the shit out of her because I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're the person who's supposed to be understanding this situation, you know? But if I cannot confide in you as someone who's supposed to be a leader,
Yeah,
who else is going to talk to you?
exactly.
Like, this is why I understand why sometimes the employees who will just chomoka from there, they just go bigger shots, then they come back to the office. Because they're like, "Ugh," you know? But it's high time this changes. It's time for change.
I think it is important for employers to understand.
If this is the first time listening to us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's talk about how single parenthood life is affecting you and share your experiences. Also, don't forget to rate us and review on Apple Podcasts, comment on YouTube, and share on that Spotify link. Find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. Our socials are Single Parenthood all across the board. Ciao! See you on the next episode.